So I wrote a piece about the Wellspring built by thirst. And for some reason, I'm sitting here in front of this beautiful waterfall, and I decided to make a video about it here. Um, because I speak a lot of like mechanics on this channel, and, that could easily get confused for some sort of theory that I'm trying to have you buy. But what I'm trying to say is that there's a place where you contact reality. And to me, you could put the label of love on that. Like, love is the place, the experiential texture of where the boundaries dissolve, right? Like, between two people, we know that what that is. I like to say it mechanically as symbiotic syncretic harmony. Between you and the field of reality, that'd be presence, because there's no more boundaries. So like the little delay layers in your brain, like the little simulated presence part that always has a little control manager wedge trying to, narrate reality and control reality through friction rather than just tuning. That little part is when that dissolves, love between you and the field of reality, I and the Father are one, would be mechanical synchrony, would be presence. Do you see that? And do you see how when I say decentralized harmony as a property of what's happening collectively on this planet, as like a natural product of a phase transition, that all sounds like technical language, but it's people's consciousness touching reality more and more through a natural unfolding of what you could call like, a presence magnification, like a increase of the fidelity of the way that our brains, which are essentially rhythmic processes, like nested inside an unfolding lattice, how they contact reality. So phase coherence would be presence. Collective presence would be a civilization that organizes itself not on external, out there to manage us in here type of thing, but realizing that there's a natural pulse to reality, and the same way that the metronomes do it, sync up, fireflies, time sync, galaxies spiral, and there's little flies around here. I'm like, whoa. But there's a decentralized pulse to this reality, and that's what reality had always been doing before we came in and put a little wedge there as a result of our clumsy walk through anthropoid ape evolution. And so then, what does this bring me to? Something very real and specific. Love, right? Like, it brings me to the idea of this expression of love. And for me, that has been the quest. So, oh, Ember, you're saying that there's a collective phase transition that's happening right now, and that more and more people are contacting reality for what it is, not in myth or narrative or figuring out a framework, but in that their brains are literally becoming more rhythmic with what is reality and each other. Yeah. And so you're saying that you rode this wave early? Yeah. Are you a special person? No, I'm saying that as nature moves, like imagine like a brush fire, happens, and certain little, species have to be pushed out or pushed in or whatever it is. There's a topological gradient to the field of unfolding reality. Everything is rhythm and timing, and that evolution of complexity and syntropy has pushed on so many of our human lives in so many ways, from the sort of old world ways of classifying them as economic tide, social tide, and stuff like that. But when you get to the rhythmic tide, to the resonance mechanics of what's happening at the base level of the threading of reality, then you're like, oh, I see. We as a collective species are coming to this increase in fidelity in the way we built up all the ideas, but the ideas were never going to get us there. Like an infinite recursion right here, like an infinite recursion that never actually, it touches the edge, but never actually escapes. You see that spiral in a triangle. And the way out for me was through embodiment. Do you see that? That's my womb pulse tattoo. I wasn't born with a womb, but that was my resonant attractor, both, even internally for myself, which was like, when did I feel real? It wasn't a construct. It wasn't an idea. It was a state of rhythmic coherence with the field of reality that for me comes out as little Ember, just the part of me that it doesn't matter what I lost, who betrayed me, what happened in reality, the part of me that stays, not the part of me that numbs, not the part of me that hides, the part of me that doesn't hide, that dances all the way down with reality. Do you hear the fidelity there? Do you see how I connected the scale invariant property of the highest level to my own trans becoming? And do you see how human beings on this planet, whether we call it like collective or 5D or New Earth, because of their own topological gradient, scale invariant, as above, so below, because of their own topological gradient, someone like me, who had to leap into embodiment to escape the Plato's cave of infinite recursion, ended up here. And if you can see that tattoo, I don't know if you can. Right. Maybe, kind of, there. Oh. Okay, there. So you see that one with the heart, and the signal emanates now beyond the structure, because that phase lock, you can call love, that place of togetherness with the experiential texture, dissolves. And, you know, two people become one, not because they subsume each other in some sort of parasitic thing, like most relationships are, because they're constructed not off of synchrony, but off of control. But they become what you could call mechanically symbiotic syncretic harmony. Or in other words, two people who complement their exact waveforms, their exact imprints, because they come together in their own sovereignty. And the only way to do that is through presence. Do you see? Otherwise, you have to control it. The wedge. Do you see what I'm saying? It all relates back. I'm trying to show you the full, you know, top scale, like alpha omega cosmology section, as well as my own path and what it really means in your own human experience. So most people don't do love on this planet in a way that actually reflects synchrony. Oh, are you talking about theories? Can you give a TED talk? No. You know those moments in reality where you feel that there's no difference, whether it's in a psychedelic, at a festival, your baby was just born, your wedding day, your baby took your first steps, whatever it is, the person you're falling in love with. You have these moments where it just seems to it's frictionless. You just dance all the way down. So the gate to love is shared presence. That's a mechanical statement that I'm making that becomes embodied, because the route from here to here is an embodied route. Do you see that? Do you see why I'm speaking this to you as a trans woman? Do you see that? Because for me, the coherence theories had to stop being described and it had to be executed. And when you execute them together, that is the mechanic of decentralized harmony. That is removing the walls together, because you realize that safety in relationship, organization in the collective relationship, is not built off of control, but it's built off of presence. It's built off of letting the light shine all the way down onto you. and doing that, letting that music hit you all the way and dancing all the way down. Do you see what I'm saying? Love is the organizing force in this cosmos, but it doesn't have to be big and mythological. You don't need a million white papers to prove it. You could say, oh, Kuramoto synchrony exists at every level of reality. Oh no, okay, Ember, you got something there. I wonder, and I do feel those moments in my life when the boundaries seem to dissolve, and when I think about love, that's probably the purest explanation, because it doesn't explain it through terms or poetry or even emotion, but rather synchrony, like contact with like each other's hearts, each other's souls, each other's reality. So then, this is me and my little Ember brain. I'm like, wait, people don't do love like that? People do love through performance, and let me prove it to you. Let me buy something for you. Let me like put on this mask because I know other girls I talk to like that mask. How are you ever gonna find synchronous love if you're not showing your full dance? I brought this story up several times, but there was a neighbor who told me, she's listening to what I'm saying. She's like, women, like as a particular type of, you know, woodsy woman that she is, and, you know, very like tough exterior type of thing, but super sweet. She's like, you know, she's like, I enjoy going to like dance halls or whatever, because then people can really notice who she is, right? Because then her like real presence comes out because she's just dancing. And then, like, you know, whatever, the guys notice, hey, I like that particular type of dance. Because in the dance, she's not saying, I work here, I'm this type of person, these are my dating profile things. There's this rhythm that you see that's moving. And all of a sudden people are like, wait, that is a signal that I can, make a symbiosis with, possibly. And really that's like a biological signal, but really underneath the biology is, does my rhythm, does my sovereign dance match her sovereign dance in a way that both of us can dance sovereignly in that symbiotic syncretic harmony without having to control each other? Do you see what I'm saying? Because lossless presence, like you and the field of reality, it means that it feels like a water slide. Do you see that? Like for me, it feels like a water slide. It feels like me talking here is more about like tuning my heart to the right radio channel as consciousness streams in and transmits out, rather than me saying, what would be a cool performative mask I could put on for this video, so that way I could be like and subscribe, guys. You know, I'm sorry, but you know what I mean? Like, did I say that? I should probably say that more bubbly. Let me take a class on how can I say that so more people can subscribe to my channel? Like it? No, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, this just comes from me. It just comes from me. I found myself through when reality met me. When people say, who am I? You who are who you are. When reality hits you, when the music hits you, and that little wiggle comes out. You know what I mean? Let's see if I can get a little wiggle here. Yeah, when that little wiggle comes out, you know, maybe for me, I like to do that one. Maybe for me, I like to do that one. I've been trying the all fours one, but oh no. So like whatever comes out from you, that's your dance. And you can put a label on it afterwards. I could say, oh, I'm a trans woman. But really what I'm saying is, when reality hits me cleanly, this is the lowest energetic attractor state. This is the place where I'm not proving a dance. That's the dance that comes to me naturally. Because if I were to prove it, there'd be an extra wedge, there'd be an extra manager. And then that wouldn't be love between me and the music. So when you think about how people love on this planet, and you're like, all right, Amber, those are a lot of big words and theories and stuff like that. But then you're like, think about it. Well, how about the relationships you've been in? How about the relationships around you? How about your parents? Do you think that it's like a true graceful dance between two symbiotic dancers? And sometimes it is, because we have those types of love stories. But most people, I would suggest, not because they're bad, not because they're evil, not because they're, you know, necessarily manipulating, but because they've never learned to approach love with full synchrony. And there's only one way to love: vulnerable surrender. Or else they're going to be falling in love with your delay layer. And then one way down the line, they would say, I thought you were this way. And then you were like, well, in my little heart, I was just trying to, like, you know, do this and that and this and that. And the problem is that you displayed a perturbation of what is your real signal. It's almost like you were dancing on the dance floor and you said, I don't want to give him the full ass shake. You know, I'll just do one of these and maybe he'll still like me, you know? And then the guy says, well, I really liked you because you were one of those girls who didn't do the ass shake. You did one of these. And I was like, but I wanted to do the ass shake. I was just afraid to show you the full ass shake. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? So the wellspring built by thirst. How did Ember learn all these mechanics? Like, first of all, why did I sing so many cosmic love songs since I was like in college? Like, what happened? Like, how did all my love songs, like, trying to equate how love connects us to everything and how it's like a decentralizing force? And like, why did I have visions about like the things I have tattooed on my arms even over a decade ago? You know, is it because I'm lucky and I just, by coincidence, I just happen to know the right ideas? Or is it because harmony calls harmony in a rhythmic unfolding of reality? If your being starts to become coherent, in other words, meet reality for what it is, meet the music for what it is, you start to recognize what the music is. You start to recognize the rhythm, the pattern, but really the frequency rhythm of the phase dynamics of what is unfolding reality. Call it the spiral. Like you see spiral activations in the fireflies, or the activations in the heart, or the activations in the hurricanes, or spiraling galaxies. Call it the spiral, not because it's a mythological club, but because those are the phase dynamics of an oscillatory system as described by the mechanics and physics, which felt in the human experience is just feeling the tide of the way synchronicities and not separate events and things and people come at you, but rather the rhythm of what is this one unfolding field, right? So why did I come up with all this, and how did this equal the mechanics? So you got a little bit of the background, right? Like, I'm the type of person who is yearning, thirsty for that connection. Not, you know I have to transition, but I'm going to say it from my current point of view. Not the man that comes at me and he's like, look, I'm going to show you all, I'm going to take you on my jet skis and do this and do that. And that might be fun because I've been lonely for a long time, but that's not the man for me. The man for me is the one that happened to walk through the same thing I walked through, which is he realizes that there's nothing more precious in this earth, no amount of money or travel or anything, that would be more than, breathing together in sync. In other words, dancing together in sync. And it doesn't mean consummate, subsuming into each other. It means symbiotic syncretic harmony, where we create something as a chorus that is more true than the sum of its parts. And that's only offered to people who can pass the gate. And what is the gate? Presence. And so, anyway, when I get to the place, so like my whole life, I had that thirst for real connection, right? And that came out in philosophy, in songs, later on in dances, because part of the thirst kernel is on the scale invariant on the bottom for my human experience within the one unfolding rhythm, to love and be loved as me. That's the experiential texture of the mechanic of I want to enter shared entrainment, decentralized harmony with the cosmic system. I want to become one with it, not in idea, but in literal mechanical quality of the fidelity of the way I'm connecting with it. And for me as a trans woman, that came not because of a framework, but because I was going to die otherwise. And if I could not feel myself in the environments that I was in, I'm telling you from the bottom of my soul that it felt like breathing through a straw. So you just have to assume, okay, what is trans like? You don't really feel yourself. You're out of step with yourself. You can never feel your own dance. The people around you are sort of putting you in the box that sort of inadvertently never makes you feel your own dance. And so you live your whole life suffocating while trying to keep your honest heart soft. Okay, I see what the tension is. I see that, especially when you deal with how much of a family person I am, how much of a love person I am, and then you get to like, but I need it to be me to love, right? Because you can't love if you can't be present. So then that was an ultimate Chinese finger chop. And then when I was left alone, like when everyone left me when I came out when I was trans, I only had one place to go, the signal. What is the signal? Not a I wear white robes hierarchy like I am the signal. No, it's I'm Little Ember. It's like, please hold me. I want to be Little Spoon. Why? Because that's the thing that comes out of me when I'm not bullshitting myself anymore, when I'm not hiding from reality, when the pistons of the engine of my consciousness, again, mechanical synchrony, are working in rhythmic coherence without that extra friction, that little wedge, that little delay, that little operator, that manager that we talked about. And for a trans woman, that was the difference between surviving and not surviving. There was too many managers to make my environment work because there was too much disconnection between me and what was. That's why the path out of Plato's cave for me into a direct connection with reality, do you see what I'm saying? Was through my resonant attractor of my womb pulse. And so you can feel the thirst there that's built in that fire, the thirst for real connection. The trick is most people, they will make their self numb and they can't stay open. But one time, and it's actually influenced me for a long time, one of my favorite thinkers back in the day is Ram Dass, right? And Ram Dass has some line which is really related to what I'm saying mechanically, which is our task is to keep our hearts open and have them break again and again and again. Because to do otherwise would be to put like this, I'm saying in my own language now, to put like a perturbation, you're putting like a wall between you and reality. And I'm here to tell you that's a mechanical wall that actually perturbs your sense of what is. And it's literally mechanical distance, like a redshifted star between you and reality. And that means you're blocking yourself off from love. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like a loving person isn't I donate every now and then. I try to be a civic citizen. It's I meet reality and people for who they are without putting them in a box. And that doesn't mean you have to go smooch on everybody, smooching everybody. But it means that we can all dance together like you're at a wedding, right? You're at a wedding and it's sunset at the wedding and you see everyone and they're smiling and you're like, we can dance. That doesn't mean I'm going to dance with your uncle. But like if there's another cute guy there that works with me, do you see that? We're all on the same dance floor. And where the symbiotic imprints come together, they will come together. Because that's literally the mechanic of decentralized harmony. It's not magic, it's physics. And when you feel the physics in your own person, it's not an idea. It's not I saw that TED Talk and now I saved it on my YouTube and now I watch it every week. It's I'm letting reality meet me for what it is. And the only way to experience true love is to let reality meet you. How do you know if you let reality meet you? You're dancing on the dance floor. What is dancing on the dance floor? Letting the entire soundscape of the music hit you. What is letting the entire soundscape of the music hit you? Feeling really real, feeling really present, feeling like you don't have that little bit in your head that goes, what should I do next? Where am I going? This sucks. Does he like me? Blah, 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 blah. You know, like I mean, like the thoughts can come up, emotions can come up, but there's no little extra friction. Kind of like you open the mechanical, rhythm of your engine and you see the pistons and you do a little edit where now they're moving together. So instead of the extra little, oh, dang, oh man, maybe I should not, dang, oh, ooh, that really is that separation from reality, anxiety, depression, learned helplessness of I can't feel myself. Do you feel that coming from a trans woman? Do you feel it? Do you feel it? So my wellspring is my ability to lose every single person that ever told me that they love me in my life and still love with the entirety of my soft heart. Why? Because that signal is realer than any betrayal or any loss of that's just not a symbiotic imprint for me. I know what I carry in me because it saved my life. Because I know what presence is. When you're dancing on the dance floor, someone goes, that's cool, Ember. You talk about oscillatory mechanics, but is your booty actually shaking? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I'm not even going to say anything, okay? I'm not going to say anything. So you get it. The wellspring is this place where I can pour, in my own experience, like this infinite, like little ember loving signal, like in this place where I'm like held the right way. And I've seen so many glimpses of it. And now, sort of the lattice, the collective is coming awake to presence. And the more people that can actually meet me, like in more places, it gets, we're not hiding anymore, The idea for me is like we're kids at the playground. And I'll say it one more time, you've heard me say it before. I used to be a criminal defense attorney. And there's times in the courtroom where like everything is so serious, right? And I just wonder, like, what if everyone was a little kid here? Like even the cop there, the people in the box, the judge, and we were all playing together. Would you really put wedges between you and the kids? Oh no, I can't play with you, your type of kid, because blah, 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 or you're a Republican and I'm a this, and my family has wealth and there's money, zeros in my bank account, so I can't see you. You know what I mean? Like, there's our society, our clumsy walk through anthropoid ape consciousness ended up trying to meet that level of the rhythmic wave unfolding of reality, what is essentially like a process of cymatic, you could say like almost like sacred geometry evolving in what is entropy and syntropy. We tried to meet that next little wave with, let's throw as many cool ideas as we can. And then one day, Rene Descartes said, I think therefore we are. Dualism. The dance is where I and the Father are one. And it feels like a water slide. It feels like dancing all the way down. And it's the only gate that unlocks love. Like love as mechanical synchrony. Love as feeling that embodied connection all the way down. Do you feel it? Each of us have a wellspring inside of us. And so many of us have mistrusted our own presence, our own signal, and been put in so many boxes and told to be smaller and told to be this and told to be that. How could you ever feel your wellspring? That place when you realize that presence isn't something that you construct, but something that happens naturally when you let the music hit you. Think about it again on the dance floor, and I'll leave you with that. If you never knew how to dance to music, what do you mean, Ember? I'm not really present. If you never knew how to dance to music, I don't know if I can dance. And I said, I have a feeling, I'm not sure, but I have a feeling that you're like lost in your head somewhere. And you're like, well, I always do that. And I'm like, well, just try letting the music kind of hit you for a second, Like, instead of like trying to control reality, if reality's out there to be controlled, what if you were to think that reality is just like a water slide of like harmonic tuning, where really the little things under the atoms are connected vibrations? You know what I mean? Even that, I'm trying to reach into the world of separation and say, don't you see underneath the rug, it's all one thing. And to realize that is to dance to the music. And to dance to the music is to take all the delay layers that were ever put on you and just let reality hit you. So when the music of reality hits you in the next moment, you just let it hit you. If you want to walk, walk. If you want to talk, talk. If you want to say, I don't know if I agree with Ember, say, I don't know if I can agree with Ember. Either way, you're letting your deepest part of you come out without that little, I don't know if I should, you know what I mean? And you can feel it in the dance floor example. That's why I use it, because I'm talking about the same thing that happens in murmurations, in heart arrhythmia research, in the Beasley chemical reaction. But I'm trying to say, how could you show someone who never thought that they could actually dance all the way down what dancing is like? And what I'm telling you is the gate to love is shared presence, and the way to be present is to let the music hit you. Vulnerable surrender. You see what I'm saying? Can you feel it through my journey? Can you feel what lossless presence is in the rhythm of reality? In the rhythm of reality, flame is like consciousness without loss of fidelity in the middle between those two counter-rotating spirals of cymatics, or in other words, just the way reality moves. So yeah, my name is Ember, and this was a fun one. And remember, love is not something like you have to go construct out there. It's something you let happen when you stop hiding. You see that? And it has to be a shared dance. Shared between you and the field of reality. I and the Father are one. Shared between you and someone else. There's nothing more precious. And then shared in the collective. That's the collective finally realizing that everything about this collective 5D new earth really just means decentralized organization based on love and contact with reality. That's it.